a brush fire in the plains that burned 2 acres. Plus, find out how early voters are turning out so far.
And in sports, the Columbus Blue Jackets start their road to the Cup tonight. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Spark in the brush spread fast in the plains today. Good evening, I'm Matt Cudahy. Thanks for joining us. 4 fire departments stopped a fire from spreading on a field in the plains this afternoon. Newswatch reporter Micah Upshaw is live in the newsroom. Micah, how could this have started?
Yes, the fire department in the field on East 3rd Street and burned through 2 acres of land. And today's windy weather was no help in calming the fire. No injuries were reported, and firefighters say they don't know how the brush fire began. But a witness tells WOUB in an exclusive interview that it was a cigarette that caused the spark.
My buddy, he came over, he was like, yo, I need your help. He said, I was like, what's going on? He said he flicked a cigarette because him and his old lady were arguing. And they walked away, and he said he looked back, and there was just like smoke coming up, and he went to go put it out, and it was like his big round already. So we tried stomping it out, and then we threw a little bit of water on it and it didn't help. And then we were like, it's time to call. So I ran back over and they called.
Yes, according to Ohio law, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., outside burning is not permitted for the months of April, May, November, and October. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Micah Upshaw.
A red flag warning is issued for Athens until 8 p.m. tonight. Red flag warnings come when the wind is warm and can spark fires easily. The Athens County Treasurer Bill Bias announced yesterday morning that he would be resigning effective April 30th. Bias, who is 67, is currently in his 2nd term. He made the announcement to a crowd of 25 people at a meeting for the Athens County Land Bank Board of Directors. Bias will also be stepping down as the chairman of the Land Bank Board. Bias cited a mix between family and health reasons for his decision. Yesterday, an Ohio University student pled guilty for 2 assault charges that resulted in a victim losing an eye. In November, at an Athens area bar, Kyle Shreves threw a glass at Kevin McKay, a former Ohio University student, hitting him in the face. The glass shattered and went into his eye. Shards also struck Emma Ellis, who was standing nearby. Shreves pled guilty to 1 felonious and 1 misdemeanor assault charge in the Common Pleas Court. Sentencing is scheduled for June 11th. An Albany man is accused of impersonating a police officer. WSAZ reports that on April 8th, a man using red and blue lights pulled a vehicle over at Lake Alma State Park. The man spoke to the driver shortly, but eventually let them go. The driver called 911 and reported the man also had a badge, radio, and handcuffs. Authorities have identified Joshua Byers as a person of interest. Byers is a registered sex offender from Athens County. Charges of kidnapping and impersonating a police officer are currently pending. Day 4 of early voting starts tomorrow morning, and the Athens County Board of Elections says they are right on track. Director of Athens County Board of Elections Deborah Quivy says nearly 50 people have come in to vote since Monday. They have also mailed more than 200 ballots by mail. Quivy says this is about average for their office. She is encouraging registered voters to exercise their right to vote.
Everybody will vote. It's very easy. You can go onto our website. You can call us here at the office. We can mail you the application by mail. You can come here in person. So it's very accessible and very easy to vote now.
The primary election is set to take place on May 8th, but you can submit an absentee ballot until May 7th.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm forecaster Michaela Gress. Now, overall, what a crazy week of weather we've had. As we started out very cold, and today we hit a high of 78 degrees. Now, currently, we're looking at 74 degrees outside. That big ball of sunshine's out there shining, but those winds, they keep blowing as the day has gone on. Now, if we look across our region, we're seeing similar trends temperature-wise throughout the region, as we see those 70s, 80s, And there's a couple 82s, and those are our hot spots down in Ironton and Ripley. Now, as we continue into tonight, those temperatures, they're going to stay pretty warm as we hit around 54 degrees, but just make sure that you're out there ready and be expecting the wind as we continue on. Now, Matt, I don't know about you, but if I were you, I'd make sure to get outside tomorrow because it's going to be a gorgeous day.
Yeah, no, definitely. It looks like it's going to be a great weekend. Really looking forward to this great weather. An Eastern Kentucky McDonald's is warning patrons they may start showing signs of hepatitis A. An infected worker handled food products at the Berea, Kentucky McDonald's last month. The Madison County Health Department says the risk is low for customers, but they can be affected by someone who didn't wash their hands before touching food. According to the department, customers should look for symptoms including fatigue, nausea, and joint pain. More than 400 workers in Columbus will soon be unemployed. Express Scripts will be closing its Columbus operations. The company says layoffs will begin around June 10th, and the company has another location in Dublin, Ohio. It will also combine its Madison and Fairfield operations. The Ohio House of Representatives is taking steps to improve broadband connection in rural Ohio. The bipartisan bill was approved yesterday, and it would create a program to provide $50 million in grant money each year. The money would help bring access to about 14,000 households each year. The bill will now head to the Senate to await approval. The CEO of the largest distributor of prescription drugs in the U.S. is hoping he doesn't have to testify in West Virginia's opioid lawsuit. Lawyers for McKesson Corporation say it would be a, quote, burden and would interfere with the company's operations. West Virginia is blaming its opioid epidemic on the oversupply of prescription painkillers from companies like McKesson. The company is currently facing over 500 similar lawsuits around the country. Kentucky School is helping improve needle safety. Ashland Middle School created a device that can safely pick up used needles and other drug paraphernalia. They were awarded $150,000 for winning the nationwide contest. Ashland was one of 3 winners who were announced on Good Morning America yesterday. Even more states are sending troops to the border. Find out if Ohio is taking action. Plus, see how Uber is trying to make your ride to work safer. Coming up when Newswatch returns.
We are here for the same reason, although I suspect we hope for different results.
You know what they say, yeah, the wicked get no rest.
I do not admire you for this.
Looking at my heart, any place, any
It's always sex, isn't it?
got so much to lose.
Love.
So much to prove.
For judgment.
We are not amused.
Dear God. Trouble on my left, trouble on my right. I've been facing trouble on my side.
This is how you'll be a man.
Are you becoming squeamish?
Oh, God, your mother's here.
The lesbians. They're getting married. You're having a great time.
God, don't let me lose
Yes.
my mind.
Come and play with us.
Onward and onward!
Good ideas open up a whole new world of possibilities.
The more you know about history, the more you know about yourself.
The sky is the limit.
Where I go, there you are.
As the Trump administration is continuing to debate how to respond to the latest suspected chemical weapons attack by the Syrian government, the president today saying that a military strike may not come as soon as originally expected. Omar Jimenez has the latest.
We're having a number of meetings today. We'll see what happens.
No decision yet on Syria, despite President Trump tweeting Wednesday that missiles are coming. Defense Secretary James Mattis says the administration's goal is not to engage in a Syrian civil war, but any use of chemical weapons changes the dynamic.
Some things are simply inexcusable, beyond the pale, and in the worst interest of not just the Chemical Weapons Convention, but of civilization itself.
And complicating any sort of military strike are the fact-finding teams from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, expected to start work on the ground there Saturday.
We will facilitate the arrival of the team to anywhere they want in Douma.
According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 500 patients were presented to health facilities exhibiting signs and symptoms consistent with exposure to toxic chemicals. The video shows the suffering aftermath of men, women, and children.
I cannot tell you that we had evidence, even though we certainly had a lot of media and social media indicators that either chlorine or sarin were used.
Meanwhile, the Russians continue to deny an attack ever happened, with its Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying, "We regard the World Health Organization statement as irresponsible proliferation of unreliable and unsubstantiated information that could provoke new aggressive actions," hinting at larger implications.
On a strategic level, it's how do we keep this from escalating out of control?
In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
Other U.S. allies are also considering military action. British Prime Minister Theresa May says she is in favor of the use of force. Nancy Pelosi says if President Trump fires Special Counsel Robert Mueller, it would be a constitutional crisis. She spoke Thursday as House lawmakers introduced a bill that would reinforce one already in the Senate and make it harder for Mueller to be fired. Trump has criticized Mueller's investigation into the Russian election meddling and possible collusion. The legislation would ensure that Mueller could only be fired for, quote, good cause by a senior Justice Department official. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo agreed with a Democratic lawmaker that it would be catastrophic if the U.S. initiated an attack against North Korea. He made the remark in an exchange with Senator Ed Markey at Pompeo's Senate confirmation hearing. Pompeo says the administration has a responsibility to prevent North Korean leader Kim Jong-un from being able to threaten the U.S. with a nuclear weapon, but he says he's not advocating regime change. Senators on the Foreign Relations Committee are grilling President Trump's new pick to lead the State Department. Current CIA Director Mike Pompeo is making his case for confirmation. Pompeo stressing his service in the military and at the CIA and emphasizing the unique place the U.S. holds in the world. The effort to secure the border continues after Texas deployed its National Guard troops last week. 2 additional states said they'll send resources south. Andy Rose has the details.
More states are committing National Guard troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. Attorney General Jeff Sessions pushed the president's plan while in New Mexico on Wednesday.
We're going to have as many as 4,000 National Guardsmen come.
Texas was the first to deploy its troops, sending 250 late last week. And in addition to New Mexico, Arizona has already pledged to send troops to the border this week.
We identified 338 requirements that would be filled immediately.
Those troops will help from the air and ground, acting as an extra set of eyes for ICE officers. They will also provide administrative support and help maintain the current border.
Engineering, including infrastructure repair, road grading, filling of potholes, helping to sustain border infrastructure.
California will also more than double its number of National Guard resources working on transnational crime. The state already has 250 people on a current mission spread across the state, including 55 at the border. California Governor Jerry Brown said it would add 400 members to its ongoing program, making it clear those troops would not build the wall or enforce federal immigration laws. But the Attorney General is confident there's plenty to do.
They can help. Certain things they are not able to do and will not be doing, but there are many ways that they could be supportive and helpful to us.
I'm Andy Rose reporting.
These measures come after a caravan of migrants from Central America came to the U.S.-Mexico border. Boston Marathon officials are asking the public to help them. The commissioner assures everyone's safety is the first priority and they are ready. However, they say if you see something out of the ordinary to report it. Thousands of runners and spectators are expected Monday. The athletic therapist for the Humboldt Broncos has become the 16th person to die following a horrific bus crash in Canada last week. Relatives of 24-year-old Dana Bronze said they will remember her joyful smile. Bronze died Wednesday afternoon in a Saskatoon hospital from injuries sustained in Friday's crash. The team was on its way to a playoff game when the bus collided with a semi-truck. Bronze suffered serious head trauma and had undergone 2 surgeries. She had been on a breathing apparatus and was in an induced coma. Uber says it is tightening standards for its driver background checks. The ride-hailing giant says it will now run checks every year. Previously, there was no uniform policy on rerunning criminal background checks on drivers. The company said earlier this year it started requiring drivers screenings every 2 years in 2017. Some drivers have been accused of sexually harassing passengers. Uber is facing a possible class action lawsuit by women who said drivers raped, assaulted, and kidnapped them. Drivers applying to work for Uber cannot have any convictions for felonies, violent crimes, or sex offenses. The company is also adding an emergency 911 button to the app, which would notify police of a passenger's location. Have you noticed new channels? We'll tell you why you should rescan your TV. That story's still ahead.
And as we look into the rest of the week, we see that sun staying out tomorrow, but as we look into the weekend, rain back in the forecast. Now, we'll be back with our full forecast.
I don't mind saying it.
Now you look like an astronaut.
My dream is to walk on the moon.
2, 1.
Look at this place.
It's a crazy design.
It's nearly impossible.
What is the next step toward furthering our presence in the cosmos?
That was something.
Oh, this is incredible.
Very, very scary.
Reality is always more unbelievable than anything we could have imagined.
We're literally on the cutting edge.
Unreal.
Hi, I'm Hari Srinivasan from the PBS NewsHour.
And I'm Mark Brewer from WOUB.
Join me on PBS NewsHour and PBS NewsHour Weekend for the latest news and analysis of the issues that matter most to you.
Weeknights at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 5 right here on WOUB Public Media.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm forecaster Michaela Gress. Now, let's take a look at where we sat today. Today we sat at 78 degrees, which is a little bit higher than what we're usually looking at 68. Now, as we look over at our lows, 54 is what we hit today, but normally we're around 41 degrees. So overall, it was a very interesting type of day. Now, currently we're sitting under a red flag warning. This means make sure you're not outside burning anything because there is a chance that a fire could spark up with the humidity in the air, so make sure that you're very cautious about that. Now currently we're sitting at 74 degrees. It's sunny. Those temperatures are a lot warmer than we are usually used to seeing during this time of year. Now as we look at current conditions across the area, we're seeing 70s pretty much all the way around the viewing area today. Now as we look at 74 in Ripley, 74 in Ironton, 69 up in Newark, so overall very beautiful type of day outside today. Now, if we're looking at why we're having this weather right now, we see this low pressure system is currently sitting over the Dakotas. Now, it's just going to sit there for a little bit, and it's going to continue to make its way. Now, as you can see up here, here's the rain that we can be expecting over the weekend, this weekend, as it comes in on Saturday. Now, tonight we're looking at 53 degrees, mostly clear, starry night, and again, those winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, so make sure that you are prepared for that. Now, bus stop forecast, 55 degrees tomorrow. Make sure those kids have a light jacket because they will be able to tear it down as we go into the day tomorrow. Now, as we're looking, we're hitting 55 degrees at 8, and then as we continue to go down, we see that 78 degrees coming around 4 o'clock tomorrow. It's going to be a very sunny day as we go into 79 degrees, warm. It's going to be partly cloudy, and those winds are going to continue into the day tomorrow. Now, as we look at the highs across the region tomorrow, we're going to see all those big 70 numbers as we look 79 in Athens, but as we look down in Ironton, 82 degrees. So overall, very beautiful day out there tomorrow. Now, as we look at the 7-day forecast, we're going to see 79 tomorrow, as I said, in Athens. Then it's going to start to cool down on Saturday as a cold front begins to make its way into the area, which will allow for maybe some isolated thunderstorms throughout the day. And as we go into the work week next week, we see those temperatures begin to drop back down into the 40s, but pick back up by Thursday. Matt, back to you.
For those who rescanned their TV yesterday, new channels are in the lineup. Yesterday, WOUB Public Media doubled the channels that it previously offered on the station. Mark Brewer, the general manager at WOUB, said improvement in equipment gave the station the ability to add more channels for its viewers.
Some of it was a necessity because we had some equipment that was aging, and just with the advancement of technology, we can cram more channels into that television stream. So it just works out well for everybody.
The same content remains on the classic channel, but new content will be offered on a Create, World, and Ohio channels that can all be found on WOUB.
I'm Paul Roth, and it's a beautiful day for baseball in Athens, Ohio. 7th and 8th graders in the Southeastern Ohio Junior High School Baseball League are gearing up for their season at Wrigley Field. Stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
I can't feel my face anymore.
You're doing good. You're just a little slow.
Welcome to madness.
I'm expecting the unexpected. The chicken feet really put me in a foul mood.
Join us for Family Ingredients Season 2.
Show me your mayonnaise, and I'll tell you who you are.
I can't wait to have a taste.
Now that's crispy.
Hello, I'm Paula Kerger, president of PBS. I'd like to tell you about a terrific new membership benefit called PBS Passport. With a qualifying donation, Passport brings more than 1,000 hours of great PBS and local programming to your computer, phone, or digital media player. You can catch up on shows you may have missed or revisit some of your favorites. The best part is that you can watch whenever you want. When you make your qualifying donation, you'll help to make all of the programs you love on this station possible, so don't delay. I know that you're going to love PBS Passport, so please make that donation right now. And thank you for your support.
Welcome back. I'm Paul Roth, and let's just jump right into it. Tonight, the Columbus Blue Jackets start on their road to the Stanley Cup. They're taking on the 1-seed Washington Capitals in Game 1 of a first-round series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. After an early exit to Pittsburgh last year, the Jackets are still looking for their first playoff series win in franchise history, and it won't be easy. They're facing a Capitals team that beat them 3 out of 4 times this season, but the Blue Jackets did ride into the playoffs on a high note, winning 13 of their final 17 games. Puck drops tonight at 7. And over on the diamond, the Cleveland Indians continued their recent winning ways last night, but they found something a little extra this time. It was their bats. The Tribe put up their highest run total in over a week, and so far this season, Cleveland has put up some of the worst batting numbers in all of baseball. The Indians took the contest 5-1 over the Tigers and took some history along with it as the win clinched their 14th consecutive division series win, the longest such streak in MLB history. They're facing off again right now, so check out Newswatch tomorrow for some highlights from that game. And while junior high baseball isn't as big of a draw as the pros, Newswatch reporter Joe Hennessy tells us why you should head out to the Sandlot of southeastern Ohio to catch a glimpse.
The Sandlot, the Southeastern Ohio Junior High Baseball League for 7th and 8th graders. On opening day at Wrigley Field, the Athens Bulldogs and Logan Chieftains battled it out, and Athens would run away behind their batting power and solid defense. But in this league, the objective is much more than winning.
At the Sandlot, the goal is simple, to have fun, but sometimes it's the people in the dugout or behind the plate that make it special.
Rudy Schultz has been an umpire for 18 years, 3 of those at the Sandlot. Under his face mask and padding is a man who cares about the sport, but it's the kids and the pressure they deal with that gives him the desire to help out.
Like I said, kids, man, it's rough growing up nowadays. They got a lot of pressure, mom and dad yelling at them, the teammates, coaches, so, have fun with it. Somebody's got to lose, so I'll try to make it easy as I can for them.
For the coaches, they want to win as much as the players on the field, but it's the lessons from the sport they want to teach.
We made a mistake tonight that I wasn't a big fan of because not only did, we got lucky and score runs on it, it also wasn't the best sportsmanship.
The Sandlot is a place of enjoyment and excitement. Sure, it's junior high baseball, but that doesn't mean it's not competitive.
These kids in this area know how to play baseball, so it's fun to be around. And the one thing that I've loved with this team is when we put them in practice mode, sometimes they kind of start messing around and doing different things. But when we add a competitive aspect, they just all of a sudden turn it on.
For Newswatch at noon, I'm Joe Hennessy.
Now, if you'd like to read more about the man behind the plate and his impact on the players, head on over to WOUB.org. I'm Paul Roth, and that's it for sports. Now over to Michaela for your final weather.
Currently, we're sitting at 74 degrees. It's sunny, warmer conditions, so make sure you go outside and enjoy that beautiful weather. Now, tonight, we're looking at 53 degrees. It's going to be a little bit windy, so make sure you're prepared for that. But as we look at this beautiful 7-day forecast, we see those 70s return into the area. Now, as we look into Monday, we see 40s coming back into the region as a chance for snow flurries come back into the area. But we will make sure that we do warm back up on Tuesday and Wednesday and into Thursday.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Matt Cudahy. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.